Welcome to the Greenway Outdoors podcast. The Greenway Outdoors is also an internationally syndicated TV show on Pursuit Channel and Wild TV. You are now tuned into our weekly podcast hosted by executive producer Kyle Green, production coordinator Jeff Hutchinson, director AJ Beadle, and creative producer Ryan Parks. We live in a world where our natural resources are almost solely protected by funds raised by hunters and fishermen, with over 60% of those funds coming from white males over the age of 55. The Greenway Outdoors team has set out on a mission to create content that would inspire millennials, Generation Z, and new sportsmen and women to get out, hunt, fish, and contribute towards conservation and the betterment of our planet. Welcome to the Greenway Outdoors. Hello and welcome to episode 44 of the Greenway Outdoors podcast. I'm Kyle.
I'm Jeff.
I'm AJ. I'm Ren.
Welcome, guys.
What's up?
I'm excited about this podcast. Last week, we were talking about stories that made us realize that you got to be prepared to go out in the outdoors to survive it. Because if you're not, you can be like that hiker that the DNR found that unfortunately passed away, only 29 years old, our age as well.
You will be so dead.
Yep.
So dead.
Fresh dead.
So I told you about a duck hunting story where I saved Jeff's life. So I have one where he existed so I didn't lose my leg, but I wouldn't say he saved my life.
He doesn't get that credit.
No, just go ahead. You tell the story.
What were you going to say? Were you going to give away the end again? He's been doing this thing where he'll tell a story and he'll be like, spoiler. He'll be like,
and then he tells the beginning.
Here's the punchline. Now let me build you up. It's not a different. No.
There's two different ways to tell a story. You can tell a story.
A bad way and a good way.
There's a build up and then there's the punchline. Or you can tell the punchline first and then build up to it because people are like, how on earth did they get there? It's two legitimate ways to tell a story.
Yeah, but I'm alive right now.
And now, both times that I've attempted to do that with a story, you've gone, oh, that's stupid. Here's the punchline. I'm like, but I just did the build-up. So now you've ruined both. So now we told the story in 30 seconds, and now what? We're going to talk about it now?
I think it's the fact that you're always like, and then I'm like, everybody died there.
Done.
I reel it in for you. You're welcome. Just like your speech at last year's premiere. Let's talk about that. It wasn't great.
It was great.
You had 5 things to talk about. We went through the entire list together.
Nope.
You went out there and did, yes, you did insist on this. You guys were back
All
there.
of the things that I was going to talk about, I didn't talk about any of those things.
I know.
We know.
Oh, and then the things that we were like afterwards, we were like, oh man, we should have just had you do that. That would have been easy. I was like, yeah, would have been great.
No.
Thanks everyone for coming out. Thanks especially to Sportsman Alliance for making the trip. We really appreciate everybody.
That's not how it went down. That's not how
exactly
it actually went down. Was he had a list. He went out there, didn't do any of it, and then I heard him on stage say, well, I had some stuff I was going to talk about, but I didn't.
Right.
Yes. I don't remember any of it.
I'm not claiming that didn't happen at all.
And then he goes, and Kyle's going to make fun of me for that when he gets out here. I'm like, I better walk out there. So then I walked out and then covered the things that he just said he was supposed to say, but didn't say any of it, and then did that. Yeah, that's what happened.
No one talked about the things I was going to say.
I did, and you were like, "Thank God you covered them all." Yep, because I thanked everybody. I know who I thanked
exactly.
And how.
That's the thing that afterwards we said, "Oh, Jeff could have done those. That would have been easy."
No.
That.
That was your list.
No.
That was your list.
How'd you lose your leg?
We're going to have another premiere party January 3rd. If you'd like to hear Jeff take another stab at this, it's an awesome wild game dinner. The menu is going to be outstanding. January 3rd starts at 5 o'clock p.m. Excellent food. Come out and see the first 2 episodes of Season 4. Hang out with us. Get your picture taken on the red carpet. Have an awesome wild game dinner. We're going to have all kinds of cool prize giveaways that are going to be awesome. Come out, check it out, January 3rd. See Jeff take another stab at that and me save him again.
I have a surprise planned.
Do you?
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
Yeah, I'm going to dress like a cowboy this year, I think.
There you go.
I would like if you did. I'd like if we all did.
I want to dress
He's like, no, it's mine.
No, it's my thing.
It's my thing.
So
Don't you dare.
I got my ears pierced recently, almost just for this reason, so I can put cool earrings in and dress like a cowboy.
Really?
Yeah.
Do cowboys have cool earrings?
Well, they do now.
I didn't know that.
In my reality, they do.
I don't know of any Metro cowboys, do you?
I think
Am I really getting straight
Depends
answers
on
on
what
that
chaps
question?
look like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What chaps are you going to do?
You know.
You know it, Jeff.
I feel like for special occasions when people are like, and I got a surprise, like, oh, cool, a surprise. When Ryan says I've got a surprise,
I only get nervous.
You're perfect.
You understand, my parents will be there. You understand?
It's gonna be.
It's
good.
not just going to be us.
Where is the surprise going to take place?
On stage.
Okay.
It's a gift for you.
Oh, I don't want it.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Trust me, you do.
I don't think I do.
He got another piercing.
Why is that for me? Why'd you have to make it weird? Okay. Anyhow, check it out. January 3rd. Tickets will go on sale. Watch us on social media and our website to find out all the information on that. Another story about survival. You think Jeff can't survive a speech? You should see him try and save his friend while duck hunting. What a good transition that was.
That's what I was trying for.
Okay, so we go out duck hunting. It's the same situation as last week. It's the last day of the season that everything won't be completely iced over. But we're smarter this time. We said, okay, we learned our lesson last time. We're going to go out during the evening hunt. That way we can go out during the day and we'll be able to set up and be good, and then we'll leave at sunset. That way, we can get in and out in the light both ways and be able to navigate everything, and it'll be warmer when we go out, so we'll have more of our wits about us, and packing up will be easier and stuff. It'll just be easier to go in the afternoon. We do that. We pick a zone that is farther away than any other zone in the history of man. That was our first mistake.
That's true.
To be fair, we got like last pick.
Oh, it was a god-awful pick.
I literally think it was last pick. That's when we got our mugs.
Yep.
Anyhow, you get free mugs.
Oh,
if you
that's
go.
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we have a collection. So we're, very, very lucky people. So anyhow, we go out in the afternoon. We navigate all the way out there, and there's no ice whatsoever. So we're good to go. But there was skim ice in like little coves and stuff like that. But in our zone, there's no ice or anything. Put out all our decoys. We hunt. There's like nothing flying, nothing doing whatsoever. So we're like, all right. Once sunset starts to come along, we'll stay out till the end of shooting time because hopefully we'll have some stuff flying then. So I don't know if any of you have ever duck hunted where you're standing in what I would call muck, but we're in about just below waist deep water. So probably 2.5, 3 foot of water. We're in 3 foot of water, and there's probably about 10 inches of muck that grabs your feet each step and is real hard to walk in and navigate. Few ducks come in, finally, and I lift up my gun and I lean back and I did that thing where you go to like move.
Oh, and you're stuck in
both
the mud.
feet are stuck, and now my balance is already gone and there's no recovering. I try to lean forward, but my feet are so stuck I can't do nothing, and I go down and I go underwater. Same thing. And skim ice water. So you're talking 33-degree water.
At that point, you should have taken the gun and turned it around and shot it, so it would...
Nice.
Propel me forward. I like it. I like it, Ryan. Like it looks like a cartoon. So I go under, and I'm like, oh man. Not only that, I have my dad's new over/under that he won at the Ducks Unlimited dinner. I don't think he knows that part of the story yet, though. He does now.
does now.
Enjoy the show, Dad. Anyhow, I cleaned it. I didn't. He cleaned it.
Yeah, you didn't clean
so
it.
he knows. He knows that it didn't do well that day. Anyhow, so I'm like, go under, and I'm like, oh man. And we had like a spread of something like 60 decoys out and everything like that, all with individual weights. We weren't running Texas rigs or anything, so picking them up's a pain.
He thought all this while underwater.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm like, Jeff, I fell in because we were separate a little bit by probably like 15 yards or something like that. He's like, all right, he gets me back in the boat, and he's like, I'll pull the boat along, pick up each decoy, hand it to you, you put it in the bag, and we'll go from there. I'm like, okay. My shirts and everything are completely soaked, and now I've watched like adventure documentaries and stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get out of the waders because they picked up water fast. I mean, I probably got up to my waist in water in the waders, and they're so heavy because there's so much water in them, and it's such cold water, I got to get out, I got to get away from them. Probably not smart now that I look back.
The water stays at 32 degrees. The air is like -2 or whatever it is.
It wasn't -2. It was only like 5 that day. It was 5 degrees.
Perfect. Great.
Yeah. It was nice.
How comforting.
A balmy 5 degrees. So now, again, all the decoys are in like a skim ice now because as night's starting to fall, it starts getting dark quick. Jeffrey pulls around each decoy. I take off the waders, and I take off my lowest layer of shirts. Didn't quite get wet that bad. and it was like a thick sweater. Took that one off, and I think that's why it repelled it, because it was like real tight, thick sweater. I took that off and tied the sleeves together and then put my feet into the sleeves. I had to get my feet warm again because my sleeves were dying, so I made like a makeshift knee-high boot out of my shirt.
He doesn't explain any of this to me. So I'm picking up decoys. I turn around with the decoy, and I see bare feet. I'm like,
oh no.
What?
Wait, what's
Are
happening?
you already like delirious? What in the world are you doing? I gotta go.
I mean, it was cold. It's 5 degrees. And now it's snowing on top of it all, and it's getting dark fast. So I do that.
Is it worth it?
I get those. Hey, we need ducks.
Is the
man.
whole day worth it?
Yeah, we didn't get a duck that day either, as you can tell by the story. So I get that in, and then I put like wet clothes back on my top layer, and then I've got kind of damp long johns covering my legs sort of still. My feet are warming up inside that blanket. I'm putting all the hand warmers that we had inside there to try and warm those up and everything else. We're getting getting the decoys in is like a sloppy matter, like water splashing around inside the boat and so on and so forth. So water is getting all inside the boat, and it's getting the shirt wet that is on my feet because my feet are on the ground because I got to get the decoys and stuff like that. So I'm like, it's all right. Once we fire off the motor, we'll be out of here and everything will be fine. Jeff gets done with the gauntlet of 50 decoys is an hour to pick up. If it's an individual, pull the boat forward, pick it up, wrap it up one. Mm-hmm. You're looking at a minute a piece because of the like they're well spread out and so on and so forth. You're looking at about an hour situation there, maybe 45 minutes. Get done with that, and now I'm dying because my feet are soaked now and cold still because of the whole situation with the shirt getting wet that it was in. All my clothes that I have on are drenched, and everything I'm doing the thing where like you get in a position where you hold still, and then you kind of don't feel that cold, but then you move and then your clothes touch you because they're wet, and you're like, ah! And it's miserable. And he keeps needing things from me. So then I'm like, all right,
oh, goodness.
I'll drive the boat. He gets in the boat. I go to drive. I turn around. I pull. I'll never forget that. I pull the string for the motor to start the motor, and it just comes with me and just stays out. So it doesn't turn the motor over at all. It just comes out and stays out, the string. And I'm like, that's never happened ever.
Why is that a thing?
And I'm like, you're talking to two. I am not mechanically sound whatsoever. So all I know is you pull it and it goes back in like a lawnmower string. I pull it, string comes out and just stays out. And I'm like, no! So then Jeffrey's like, I'll start working on it. We actually had some tools because we had started being smart about the whole situation from the last ordeal where he almost died. So I'm not doing well. It is a blizzard. The wind picks up. We're in like 15-mile-an-hour winds. It's snowing. It's now 0 degrees out, and I am drenched head to toe. And I'm not doing well. I'm starting to turn blue, and now it's been about 2 hours since I've fallen in. Okay? So for 2 hours, I'm in that situation, and my clothes are iced now. I move, and they're crinkling because they're all wet. So I'm like, uh-oh. So we call my dad. Jeff's phone's dead because he didn't even bring it. You know him. So I got like 2% on my battery, and I call my dad. And I'm like, Dad, this is what happened. And I explain the pull of the motor. I go, what do you think that is? I haven't explained to him I'm in a near-death situation because then Mom finds out, and she's listening intently on any phone call I'm having. So I don't want her going, oh, he's going to die.
And there goes any good advice you could get in the 2% battery.
Yeah. So then he goes, sounds like you broke my motor. And that's all he says back because he doesn't know that I'm going to die. So I'm like, what does this sound like to you? He goes, it sounds like you broke my motor. I was like, how would you fix it? He goes, I don't know unless I look at it because you broke my motor. He's only pissed about the motor. And I'm like, no. But like, how would I fix it? He goes, I don't know. What tools do you have? I go, I don't know. He goes, you got to find a way to get the string back in there. And the phone died.
Oh,
I'm like,
I can't handle it.
Well, Jeff,
put the string back in there.
And then Jeff, I remember Jeff.
They're just shoving it through the hole. They're not even winding it back up.
We were still in a situation where this was funny to us. And Jeff, I look at Jeff, and he's dying laughing. He goes, well, that was a good use of that 2%. And my dad now thinks I hung up on him. And we're young enough that that's a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to get in trouble. So now I'm like, shit, I'm going to get in trouble too. And I'm like, no, I didn't hang up on you. Oh, sure, you didn't hang up on me. And then
the pizza all over again.
I was dying, I swear.
So I was like, now I'm a little nervous I'm going to get in trouble. And we're in big trouble here. So then Jeffrey and I'm like, okay. He goes, I'm going to start walking us in. We're 2 miles
I hate this.
from where we have to go. He goes, I'll start walking us in and trying not to get drenched. If I walk on the edge of the canals that we're taking the boat down navigation-wise.
We're more prepared.
I can't.
Or we say we're more prepared, and yet somehow it's even worse.
It's a year later and nothing's been. No one learned anything.
We had tools. We had things. We didn't start taking the safety, the flares or the blanket kits yet. And we didn't learn to charge our phones either. But still,
You still haven't.
yeah. Well, he didn't take his phone. And he was like, I don't need my phone. We're hunting. I've heard that enough. Just because you
didn't
have
get wet. So that's good.
He's like, all my friends are here. I have no friends.
What do I need?
So now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna work on the motor, that is literally like a chimp working on a computer.
Yep.
And you just start pulling us from the front of so he gets in the water and he's pulling us forward because the paddles are useless because now there's ice. So he's got to break through the ice, move us forward, break through the ice, move us forward, and he's got to stand on the edge of the canal with the boat in the middle, trying to keep the boat in the deep part and him on a ledge enough, not in the shallow, in the only the waist deep water, so that we don't go in. And it's 2 miles in to get that done. So we begin that extravaganza. We do that for about 2.5 hours. I finally get, and by the way, I'm working on it, like shivering to death, trying to manipulate this string to get it back in. I get the thing apart, and I'm like dropping pieces in the water in the dark, and I'm using my headlamp because now his headlamp died, so now we're down to one headlamp, and I'm using that to try and look, and he's going,
the flicker thing.
And then he's going, I can't see, so I got to look forward so he can see enough to know where he's going, and then I go back down to try and find the parts that I dropped in this deep of water, in the muddy water in the bottom of the boat, and and meanwhile we're in an aluminum boat. And I'm standing in 2 inches of water in an aluminum boat in 0 degrees, 15-mile-an-hour winds, in the freezing cold.
What winds?
15.
Oh, 15.
Yeah, 50. Ego. I flew home, actually. No, 15-mile-an-hour winds. And so I'm trying to do this, and I get the string back in, and you've been doing this, you've been pulling us. You pulled us about a half mile in 2 hours. And I get it back in, and I pull it, and it comes out again. But now I know how to get it back in at least. So to me, that was a win because when I pulled it this time, it kind of turned the motor a little. So then I'm like, I didn't count on it working, so I didn't choke it or prime it or squeeze the gas into the bulb. So I'm like, okay, this is progress. So another half hour goes by, and I manipulate my limbs to get it to work. Get it there. Get it, prime it, pull it, starts. String still comes out and hangs there. So we can't shut off the motor. But the motor's running, and that's all I care about. Okay? So we get the motor running, and he has to help me pull one leg over the seat because it's a rowboat. It's a 14-foot John boat. Everyone knows what they look like. He has to pull my one leg up to put on the other side of the seat so I can sit sideways to drive the boat. That's how jacked I am right now. I can't feel my legs well enough to do that. Get the boat started, go. We get to the first pullover. Now this is not your average run-of-the-mill pullover. There's no assistance there. Now there is 2 inches of snow on the ground because of the situation.
And boats are giant sleds in snow.
Oh yeah, this big heavy boat with decoys and guns and me in it. Jeffrey gets out and he's got to pull it over himself on a steep incline. And his back at this time, you did something to your back. What'd you do? You were hurt at this time. So you're already hurt.
Yeah.
We were just batting 1,000 there. He goes, Kyle, he tries to pull it with me in it. He goes, you got to get out of the boat. And I'm like, I can't. And I'll never forget this. He looks down and he just makes his face like, oh no. And I look.
He gave up on the sweater.
I'm barefoot.
Come on.
In an aluminum boat
Jesus.
with 2 inches of water in it and was unaware that I was barefoot. And he's like, that's got to be real bad. And I was like, oh, no. He goes, you got to get out of the boat. And I was like, well, I wrapped up the sweater and kind of made a makeshift slipper again, but it's drenched, but it was better than walking in the snow. He helps me out of the boat. I step foot on the ground, immediately collapse. Because I can't get from my knees down to do what I want them to do anymore. They won't respond. I can't get my legs to work to get them to respond. So and he can't pull it over still without my assistance. So I have to crawl over to the front of the boat, hands and knees in the snow, and help him drag the boat over the pullover from my hands and knees using my strength that I have left to get it over. We get it all the way over. You're talking about 4.5, 5 hours since I've fallen in now. Pull it over, get it in the water. He helps me into the boat, sits me down. We never turned off the motor, which is like a big no-no, but I wasn't risking it going off because I'm like,
It might never start again.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's water cooled, but the motor's like 50 years old. I'll buy my dad another motor, forget it. And I just let it run outside of the... Until we started pulling, the motor was still submerged, but we were able to get it over fast enough that the motor didn't burn out or anything. We get in, I gun that 1.75 horse motor as fast as it'll go, which is small, AJ, by the way. And it's about what your garbage disposal is.
Yeah.
And we're going like 2 miles an hour, which is full blown, and I'm just in the water. I'm just sitting. My feet are just in the water, and I'm just going full blown. Everything like that. We drove another 20 minutes to get back. And drove it right up on the ramp. I can't walk. I can't function. I'm literally like hazy now. I'm not all there. Jeff jumps out of the boat, runs and grabs the truck, pulls the truck right up to the boat, carries me like a brand new bride into the truck, and then sets me in there. And we sat in the truck for 2 hours with the heat on full blast to bring the feeling back to my body to be able to. And luckily, we did have a change of clothes in the car, so I was able to put other clothes on and stuff. And then it took about 2 hours before I got feeling back, and I was so hungry, and he was so hungry. We had snacks in the car. We ate like muffins and bull crap that we had in the car. And then Jeffrey, like pretty much loaded up the boat yourself. You had to figure it out. I was like, could we have the trailer? And I was like, I can't help you at all. And then got home, and to this day, the feeling in the bottom of my right foot is still never been. I don't have the same feeling. Like I can stomp both feet,
Mr. Deeds,
and I don't.
Nice.
And I don't really feel. I don't feel it as much in the right foot when I stomp down like I do in my left. It's completely different. And I have a little bit of OCD, like with my like fingers and stuff, and like things being even. And when I run, I find myself stomping my right foot
Harder, so you can feel it. Yep.
Yeah, and I have to. I'm itching right now thinking about it, but I've been able to program myself to get away from it, and it's like my weird little tendencies.
I know, it's like...
Yeah, you pinch like part of my hand that freaks
and then
me
you
out.
freak out,
I
and
know.
then
I don't like
you
when
get mad at everybody.
or when people squeeze like one of my fingernails. I always have to like push the. I just don't like. I like things even.
What kills me about that story is the first time we went out where we didn't get a draw. At the end of the day, your waders were still full of water again.
That's because we had to hunt a ditch, AJ, because we didn't have a good zone. Yeah, that was funny too.
I can't even imagine what I would be like if that happened to me because of how much I hate cold water.
You are a wimp with cold water.
I can't stand cold water, dude. In middle of June, I couldn't even be in that.
Yeah, you are a wimp in the middle of June in northern Michigan, the trout stream.
I'll put up with anything else. Cold water,
it's not your thing.
Can't do it.
It's funny too. Like whenever you talk to people about duck hunting, like when you talk to waterfowl hunters, everybody's got a story about how they almost died. Duck hunting is like, that's a tough one because you're in like such sketchy areas and swamps and muck and difficulty and
so much that can go wrong.
The weather, like your goal weather for duck hunting is terrible weather. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's something. I mean, you can imagine too. We've done the layout boats in Lake St. Clair, and you can imagine if something went wrong with one of those capsizing or something like that. I mean, it's just. You got to make sure things are proper. So now we take a lot of precautions with the equipment. We bring emergency blankets and things like that, and changes of clothes with us in a little bag that go out with us and things like that because we learned.
I don't think anyone's had worse or time than you two. I don't think it can't be done.
Probs.
Two things from that story. Number one, during that whole pull in, Kyle and I have a bad habit of making inappropriate jokes. I've never thought of more stumpy jokes in my life. Here it comes, no feet.
The funny thing was the joke we talked about. We joked all the way up until he saw my feet in the water, barefoot, and then he didn't make any jokes anymore. And when we quit joking,
that's when
lives are in danger. Then it's not, because it was so funny that one day when I saved him. If you listen to episode 43, the last story on that episode, just last week. I tell the other story about when I saved him, and I was pulling him in. It was like 3 hours into the pull, and he goes, I just want to let you know that I appreciate what you're doing.
Don't.
Oh, we're being nice? Are you going to die? Or something?
There's not many situations where the joking stops.
No,
Yeah,
no,
no.
it's just death mostly.
It's just death.
The other weird takeaway from that story is no matter what, Kyle has to drive the boat.
I know.
Even
I know.
if he's losing his foot, he's very just fix my leg so I can drive the boat. Buddy, why don't you just lay down in the front of the
Why don't
boat?
you
There's
just not
not
drive the
water in the
boat?
front of the boat. You could just sit up there and I'll
got
drive
it.
the boat. No, I'm good. I'll drive the boat. Okay.
Well, that one I think it was just because out of convenience of where we were sitting, because I was trying to work on the motor while
just
you were
didn't want to
pulling
move.
the thing.
Exactly.
I do like driving the boat. I get a different sense of fun from
Let
it.
me drive the boat.
Although Jeff drove the boat, because Jeff and I, we share a motor and a boat. We bought it together. And
A motorboat?
Yeah, motorboat. You motorboat and so.
Nice.
We often motorboat together.
But this last year duck hunting, we have this one zone that we really like now that we've been hunting. It's a really long boat ride, and Jeffrey drove the boat the one day, and I sat in front, sideways in the boat with my feet hanging off. I took myself a little nap on the way out for an afternoon hunt after eating a McGriddle. That's when I discovered McGriddles and went nuts for like 6 weeks. Don't do that.
He still
to yourself.
he still wasn't eating egg at that point, so he's like, well, I don't want to
It's not in here.
miss out on the experience. So instead, he got the triple meat
I got-
McGriddle, which
I
is
got-
sausage, bacon, and the Canadian bacon.
Yeah, which is ham, and then with cheese on it, with McGriddle, which is like a pancake with syrup infused in it. Oh,
You tell me to
good
make a
night.
sandwich with pancakes.
Well, we were talking about it. I was like, man, I don't want McDonald's breakfast. He's like, are you sure, man? They got
Goddamn.
sandwiches made out of
good.
pancakes with syrup infused in them. I said, they got
Excuse
what?
me.
They got what? Come again. Come again. Ryan hates breakfast sandwiches.
Oh, I can't stand them.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'd rather die than eat one.
Yeah.
Wow.
If
High
that's
school
my
had some
only
pretty good
option,
ones.
He gets
if
the.
that's my only option for the whole day, I'll go hungry.
Well, he gets the when we do, because sometimes like we're in remote cities, like when we're in
West Virginia.
Yeah, we would stop there for breakfast because it was convenient where we were. Otherwise, it was like way off the beaten path, and a lot of times we were trying to keep the truck clean to where we were driving. So it's like that was on a main road that wasn't dirt. Mm-hmm. So we went there, and you got those taco things.
The breakfast burritos.
Nice.
Yeah, he likes those.
Those are good.
What's so
With the
different
hot sauce.
about a breakfast burrito versus a
The
breakfast? It's all
biscuit,
in the same
the
thing.
biscuit, I don't
You understand
like ham
they put
that much.
syrup in it.
Infused.
I feel like I'm eating a heart attack.
You are. That's
That's the fun of it.
The burrito isn't really any better.
I'm making do with what I have.
yeah.
If it was my choice, it wouldn't,
The funny
it wouldn't
thing
be
is,
the
like,
option at all.
We pretty much we travel so much that I'm pretty familiar with everyone's tendencies, and wherever we go, I know what everyone's going to get, except for AJ.
Yeah, it's always a
he's
surprise with
yeah.
AJ.
No matter what, he's going to get something different, and you're going to be disappointed because you ordered first, and now you want what he got.
Yeah.
Well, we have a trip coming up. Jeff, you're coming up a day late on us, but we're going to South Dakota. Matter of fact, while you're listening to the podcast, we are on a plane on our way there right now.
Yeah, boy.
So we are headed to South Dakota, and we're actually going to be meeting with a hatchery there in Yankton, South Dakota, the hatchery that's there. And we're going to learn about how they stock and deal with the Missouri River, as far as like what fish they put in there. They raise them. They have paddlefish there that they raise, and we're going to get to see them, the little paddlefish in the aquarium. They're going to be so cute.
The ones we saw in Oklahoma?
That's right.
They're up there?
But babies.
Yep.
Really?
Even smaller than that little one he caught that
Yeah.
one time. It's adorable.
So cute.
Yeah.
They put the little guys in, they stock the river, and they stock the river with all kinds of fish.
Wow.
Missouri River. And then to go help the native species, we're going out to bowfish for Asian carp and non-natives in the river to bowfish for them. Now, we don't know whether it'll happen this day, but a lot of times they get what they call the jumpers, which are the Asian carp, where they drive the boat and they'll actually jump out of the water. And they're all over the place, and you try and shoot them out of the air with a bow. So you stand there with a bow, like at full draw, as they're all jumping, and you wait until one's like in your view, and then you throw an arrow at it, and then you shoot them out of the air.
That's crazy.
I mean, and
Is there a string on the arrow too?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, you bring them in the boat.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I want to eat one. No one eats them. I want to eat one.
I'd try it.
Yeah, I'll try. I'll try whatever.
Yeah.
I'll try
I'll eat anything.
There's plenty of them.
I'll eat all
might
of
as
them.
well.
Yeah. Well, somebody's eating them, right? They use them
Maybe.
for fertilizer
Cats.
and cat food and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try that fish.
Yeah.
So, so we're doing bow fishing there, working with the hatchery, and then we're also going to be volunteering and filming at the Camp for Kids with Ted Nugent. Oh, and Friday we're going to an NRA and Friends dinner.
NRA, yeah.
dinner on Friday there in Yankton. And I'm excited because I love those dinners, and you can win prizes and buy tickets and get raffles and
That'll be
stuff
cool.
like that. It'll be a good time. And then we're going, and Ted Nugent's going to be there with us. So we'll actually get to hang out with Ted Nugent
We'll be
there.
there with him.
Yeah. Well, not as
I like to think that.
Yeah. So Ted Nugent gets to go with us to dinner, to that dinner, which will be awesome to hang out with him. And he's playing the
National Anthem.
On guitar. So
The Pledge of Allegiance.
yeah. I pledge. No,
Nice.
but no, that'll be really cool, and then get to hang out there. And I always like wild game dinners and stuff. Obviously, ours January 3rd. Check it out. It's going to be pretty awesome. But anyhow, jumping back, and then the next day we're volunteering at the Camp for Kids on Saturday all day, and we're filming that and helping and volunteering. And that's the fun. Basically, it's a nonprofit that Ted Nugent does for teaching kids hunting and fishing skills. So it's going to be just awesome. And then on Sunday we're pheasant hunting. And then in South Dakota, and then Monday, which is going to be another episode. So the pheasant episode and the fishing are both TV episodes. I think the Camp for Kids is going to be included in the pheasant episode as well. And then Monday, we're bow fishing again in case I can't hit the broadside of a barred on Wednesday.
Are we close to the Badlands? Do we know?
Badlands.
We're in Yankton, so we're in southeast.
Basically
South
as
Dakota.
far southeast as you can get.
So the opposite.
So no.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So no. We'll be closer. We'll be closer to
Nice.
it. Where we're pheasant hunting, we'll be closer to it,
Yeah.
but not
It's like a
quite.
2.5 hour drive.
Yeah,
I would say,
we'll be
yeah.
closer by 30 minutes.
We're close to the UP, guys. So
It's like
Yeah.
it's a 2.5 hour drive.
didn't ask.
Yeah, we'll be closer to it, though, by
did.
30 minutes.
Right. So when we come back, we're actually going to be talking about episode. We're talking about season 4 here, coming here with all the filming we're going to do. But season 3, we actually highlighted a Python episode. And that Python episode was incredible because we're in the Everglades targeting these non-native invasives. And we're going to talk about what the government is doing to ramp up the killing of these things to get them out of there. Stay tuned. You're a hunter, and because you hunt, you're the world's greatest conservationist. You're a huntervationist. You do more for wildlife and conservation than anyone. The Sportsman Alliance protects hunters from the animal rights movement. When the Sportsman Alliance gets involved in court cases or legislation, hunters win. Conservation wins. Become a huntervationist today and join the Sportsman Alliance like we did to help protect your rights against the animal rights movement.
Hotshot Outfitters in Port Hope, Michigan is the destination for whitetail deer, crow, waterfowl, rabbit, predator, and turkey hunts. We have cabins, over 30,000 non-fenced acres, and a passion for delivering fair chase hunts to you and your family. Reserve your hunt at hotshotoutfitters.com today.
When your hands are busy, your mind gets right. When your hands are busy, you can't point fingers and complain that life isn't fair. When your hands are busy, you're serving your family, your friends, and your community. When your hands are busy, you show everyone what you're capable of. The all-new Ram 1500, Motor Trend's 2019 Truck of the Year.
Welcome back to episode 44 of the Green Bay Outdoors podcast. So, we filmed a Python episode in the Everglades last year.
Yep.
Targeting pythons.
December.
Yep. Targeting pythons and filming it for the TV show, and it's an episode. I don't remember what episode, but it's in season 3, so check it out. You can check it out on the Pursuit Up app as well as a bunch of other platforms. So just Google the Green Bay Outdoors, go to our website, check it out, see
You'll
how to
find
watch
it.
it there. Yep. And the Python episode is. Honestly, it's one of the, like, when people always say, like, one of their top 3 episodes that we've
That's
ever
one
made.
of 'em, yeah.
That's always one of them. And the problem is, in the Florida Everglades, no one knows this, but 99% of all fur-bearing creatures of the Everglades are gone, and species are going extinct every single week. And basically, that's from the filming there, holding some of the ones we had caught. But the problem is, these pythons, what happened was there was a hurricane in 2000, Hurricane 2004 or something like that.
Yeah.
A hurricane hit, and there was basically a big business there that raised pythons for food, for pets, and for skins, and distributed them. And the entire facility got wiped out in the hurricane, and tons of them escaped. And the other thought process is people get pythons after 3 years; they're too big for their tanks, so they let them go, and then that python goes out. So
and
now
Florida's the perfect place for them.
Right,
Yeah.
and the Everglades, they're thriving there.
Yeah.
Thriving so well that they've killed everything else. And now they're expanding their reach. And people in Florida are like, they'll be in neighborhoods now, and like there'll be a cold snap in Florida, and they'll be falling out of trees.
Yeah.
Because they get cold and they're cold-blooded. So anyhow, we went and hunted them there, and we learned so many interesting facts about pythons. And it's so cool because we went with Tom Rahill of Swamp Apes, and he's the guy that takes out a bunch of veterans and kind of uses this as a coping mechanism and a way to get out and experience nature and kind of create a bonding experience with him, and to kind of grow through their some of them have PTSD, some different issues, and some of them just, after the military want something different, and this is an experience that's good for them. So he takes out a lot of veterans.
It is a jungle out there.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. So he takes them out, but he's probably the most educated person on it. And when I review that episode and I go back and think about it, I'm like, this guy has unlimited fountains of information that didn't exist 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Because like normally when you talk to someone about deer hunting, it's like they learn from somebody that learned from somebody that learned from somebody that learned from somebody that learned from somebody. Everything he knows is hands-on learning, because he's like telling us how the pythons mate, how they find each other, how they do everything, and he knows all of it because of experience, because he's been dealing with the problem right for the last 15 years that he's been doing it. So it's funny because nobody has the information he has. It's like just him.
Unless you go to India.
Yeah, it's incredible. So essentially what these pythons do, now he's like learned their mating rituals and everything like that, because they're not supposed to be out and about doing this, and he knows it now. So one of the things that they'll do is they'll trap males. And the problem is in the Everglades, only select few people can go in to hunt them.
That's right.
Okay, and we'll talk about the updates that are going on, but for a long time, only select people can go in and hunt them. You can't discharge a firearm, so they're catching them by hand, and then they have to euthanize them by shooting them in the head. The problem is grabbing these things is not easy, and if you saw the episode, it was nuts. I mean, the one bit the camera, and Ryan almost lost his hand. I mean, it was crazy, and they're aggressive. I mean,
He didn't even have insurance.
not life insurance. Was that last episode we talked about? Yeah, that was last episode. But anyhow, we'd go out and we're catching these things because they're decimating the ecosystem. They think there's upwards of 150,000 of them at this time when we had gone last year and talked to them. 150,000 of these alpha predators. Now they've moved. They're killing alligators. The Everglades is the only place where crocodiles and alligators coexist in the entire world. Now I don't know that they ever said they got crocs, but they were eating full deer, and some of them are up to 20 foot long.
Jeez.
20 foot long.
Huge.
And with the research we did,
it's the next level.
7-footer could kill and eat an adult man.
Yep.
So imagine what could a 20-footer do? And the ones we caught 3, 9, 10, and 11 foot long. Now, with that, you can imagine how scary this situation is. They're wiping out all the other species. Now they're eating the alligators. They're competing with all the natives, like the Florida panther, for food. And they've killed 99% of everything with fur, and the Everglades is now gone. Think about that. So now the ecosystem's completely collapsing. In 10 to 15 years, it won't even exist. And these snakes are going to try and expand out. Now, I don't know how far they can go because they really do need warm weather. But they can move up north in Florida, and they can, and Georgia is pretty warm too.
Yeah,
and then,
definitely.
it's, they're going to have to expand. They're running out of food because they killed everything in the Everglades, and nobody's talking about it. Well, now people are talking about it. So the Florida python crisis is going on, and Ryan's got the facts on it, but they're like doubling, tripling the funding that's going into this program to get rid of them. Ryan, what's going on?
So the funding has tripled and the number of hunters has doubled. So they're
approving more hunters because there's an approval process. You can just go out.
Yes.
It's like a special permit.
So basically, what happened is Florida reallocated money specifically for getting rid of pythons, and they've opened up the process to make it much easier for people to get in there and start cleaning these little guys out.
There's 150,000.
Yeah. So
you're up against a war.
And not only that, they're having babies constantly, and they have something like 80 or 90 eggs in them, a lot of them.
Yeah,
the females. And the success rate for reproduction is something like 95% of those eggs.
That's insane.
Like, they're really good at surviving, and they are in their most ideal environment they could ever be in. They're doing
no predators.
Nothing's killing them. They're doing fantastic. Other than humans.
Yeah.
But we're not doing it at a quick enough rate, and this may be too little too late.
Yeah.
99%'s already gone. What's left?
But thankfully, the government in Florida is recognizing it in some way, and it's kind of unusual to see a government endorse this type of behavior where they're like, go out and just kill.
Yeah.
And that's basically what's happening.
Yeah.
And I don't know which way their governor leans, but in the video I watched, he was like,
"Wipe them out."
Yes, this needs to stop.
I would like to see PETA debate that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That'd be a tough one because it's destroying everything.
Right, yeah. Okay, so you don't care about swamp rabbits? You don't care about beavers? You don't care about all these other critters that die? You don't care about that alligator he ate? You don't care?
Exactly.
You don't care about
I can't imagine a snake eating an alligator. Like, what that would even look like. Can you see the feet?
Pretty bloated.
Can you see the feet? I would like to debate someone from PETA on how inhumane it is to kill pythons in the Everglades. That would be a fun debate. Mainly because I'd win for sure. I like to go in cocked and loaded, and that would be about the best argument you could ever walk into.
Yeah, I mean, PETA's a tough spot because it's like if they redirected some of their attention, they could really make some good progress.
The problem is the real progress is made through conservation, through hands-on approach, through hunting and fishing. They're not going to do that because they don't agree with hunting and fishing.
But that's what I'm saying. If they could do a good job, and they do have their purpose in some ways with these, with the farming and
animal testing on products,
that sort of thing. I agree with, but they're also upset about hunting. I don't think they fully understand it to the degree that maybe we do, and I think that they
definitely don't understand it.
Well, I'm saying that there's
python
potential
could be like
there.
The olive branch. Like the python story is like the olive branch to them, where it's like even they could get it.
I bet they'd know.
I bet they wouldn't, though.
No.
I think you're giving them too much credit.
No, I know. What I'm saying is, in theory, that if they redirected some of their attention and took time to listen, that they would be somewhat happy with the productivity.
Right.
If they went at it with an open mind,
they'd be proud of what we're doing.
Yes.
They could actually be a lot more beneficial if they took some of their
gave it to us.
What they want to do and like all the money that they get for stuff. If they instead just use that to like buy
sponsor
habitat.
The Greenway Outdoors TV show.
Can you imagine?
We'll do the poster. That's fine.
Yeah. One other thing that I wanted to touch on. I disagree. I think PETA is so far left and so far dumb that
I'm not saying that's even an idea. I'm just saying in a fantasy world that would be awesome.
Yeah, and then
that's
we woke up. So, but I agree. That it would be great.
Yeah.
But so one last point on the pythons, and then we're going to move on. Another thing that I want to talk about was one of the things that they do, these people, is that when they catch male pythons, they'll put a radio device in them so they can track them. And what'll happen, the males will go looking for the females, and once the male will travel miles and miles looking for a female, once he finds a female, he won't go outside of a 100-yard radius because they're pretty still creatures. They're not moving around a lot. So they'll wait till he gets still. Then they'll go in and kill the female and every other male that's there trying to court her. So they use them like a Trojan horse. It's kind of cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. I always thought that was pretty cool. What I wouldn't think is cool is to have a mountain lion get trapped in a family bathroom. Ryan, tell us the story.
Yeah, so, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot on it, but I guess the people that this happened to, they were like the ages of like 85 and 87, They came home and a mountain lion was in their
How's that even
bathroom at
happen?
home.
How does that happen?
Explain yourself.
It got out of the basement.
Yeah. So I guess what happened was they had left a door open or something, and the mountain lion was chasing a pet cat, and the cat ran into the house, and the mountain lion followed it in, and they walked in on this mountain lion sitting in their house, and there wasn't a whole lot after that. They must have called the cops or some sort of animal control. And
That mountain lion can get out at will, regardless of what door situation is in place, and they're smart enough to know where the doorway is.
If it's locked.
Yeah.
I don't think it can.
I don't know if it
I
wrapped
think a
itself
normal
in there.
bathroom door wouldn't stand a chance against
you
a
mean
mountain
getting through the door? I see.
Yeah, like if you wanted to bust
Good
through
point.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's possible.
He gonna get out.
I feel
So
like would that be like a
Reminds me of the
crotchety
Hangover.
old man just like, get out of here, like not understanding what they're up against, you know?
Yeah, I
Like,
don't know.
Oh, you mean like the guy coming home and he's like,
Like,
get out of
get out
here.
of here. Like, no, back
Stupid
away.
cat.
It's like,
Stupid cat.
He hits
Yeah.
it throws a slipper at it to get it out. It reminds me of the Hangover, the movie,
With the tiger?
when the tiger's in the bathroom. It's pretty funny. Like he's peeing and he turns and looks and he's like, oh my gosh.
So yeah, there wasn't a whole lot. It was just a little funny.
Game of Would You Rather.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to do this for a long time. We've got about 15 minutes to roll through some of these. And Ryan, I think this was a great idea for a segment, and I'm just going to jump right into it. Game of Would You Rather. So, would you rather be a vegetarian or only able to eat meat? AJ, I know yours.
I have reasons though.
Yeah. What's yours?
I would rather be a vegetarian because I don't want to have the meat sweats for the rest of my life.
And you like some vegetarian dishes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Jeffrey.
there's no real situation where you'd really have to pick. If I had to pick,
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
There is
I
no
would- Yeah, it
situation.
is
Some
right
people are
now.
allergic
It's
to
called
meat.
Would You Rather. And if you get bit by that one tick, you get that one disease where you literally can never eat meat again for the rest of your life.
It's the tick.
So
Okay.
it's not
But then you
far-fetched to
don't- but then
think
you
that
don't
there
get
could
a
be
choice.
another tick.
but then you don't get a choice.
Jeffrey, what tick would you rather get bit by? One of them's going to bite you.
Yeah.
You're tied up in a room, and some guy's going to feed a tick or you to a tick. Do you want the one?
How big is this tick? I would
This
think
guy's going to feed you to a
it's
tick.
hard. It's hard because I really like
Okay,
meat,
Ryan, so
but
which
at
one
the
would
same
you...
time,
I would
if
probably.
you ate vegetables have a lot more you can do a lot more with them. It seems like there's a lot more versatility there.
I thought I was in a room of men.
So I feel like
I would choose vegetarian too.
Probably pick vegetables.
From a health standpoint, vegetarian.
Yeah, they say don't do it.
Not according to Jordan Peterson. He's on a carnivore diet. I would
also
He
in
only
rehab.
eats meat.
Yeah, I would.
He doesn't eat a single vegetable.
Right.
That's not true.
He was on the carnivore diet.
I doubt he doesn't eat some sort of plant.
You could eat now with the meat. You'd be allowed to eat fat too, right? And organs.
Yes.
I would assume.
I guess.
That matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, because one you die and one you're fine. One has
Well, you could
scurvy
also-
and one doesn't.
You could also just take supplements. There's no.
No,
reason
I
why
didn't
you
say that.
couldn't.
That's not in the rules.
Didn't
on
say
the fine
that.
print.
Didn't say it.
They didn't say it.
I would choose meat as long as I was allowed to eat organs, because then I could eat the liver and the eye fat and the fat and all that. I would have to go meat because I'd never be full again. I'm allergic to raw fruit and vegetables, so
Oh,
half
that's
the
true
stuff
for
that
you.
you guys
Yeah?
get,
Oh, yeah, there's no
I can
question
eat.
for
I can
you.
eat things cooked. The problem is I've never been full without carbs.
Yeah.
That'd be tough. Imagine going to the movie theater and having to eat a steak instead of popcorn. That'd be rough.
That's true.
But if I had to pick, I'd go that way.
Little
So,
steak bites.
Would you rather be a master of every musical instrument or be fluent in every language?
It's a great one.
It's not.
Why?
It's not.
No, I 100% would want to be fluent in every language. Can you imagine how valuable you would be, number one, in a job search, number two, in traveling, number two, to your team, number two, to be stranded somewhere? Why did I say two every time? Number one, two.
And finally, most of all, number two.
I hands down envy people that can speak multiple languages. There's so much value for it.
You can learn. It's
And
pretty easy, actually.
would rather listen to Granger Smith and Ted Nugent than even bother with dealing with anything musical wise. So that's mine.
I'm pretty mixed up in the middle. How much time do I spend out of this country? And
How
speaking
much
to
time will you?
Yeah.
How much value would you have? I'd pay you
Well,
more.
they definitely don't want you. The country does not want you leaving the country.
I'd
so.
double your pay if you could speak all the languages. I'm just kidding.
Well, it just so happens to
Everyone.
be.
Whoa, well, lucky me. I got bit by that tick. AJ,
Yeah, what would you choose?
he's gonna. Pick
I like
music.
the. Well, I would
This
love
is
to
tough.
learn every instrument. I mean, I feel like.
I
But
knew
you
it.
said the job thing, but then you got to think like you could be
You're
a
not gonna switch
session
jobs
musician.
ever.
You could be a session
You'd be a
musician.
legend. You'd be a legend of the music
Would
industry.
you? Would you? No, I don't
No,
think you
I
would.
don't think you
I don't
would.
think you would because you know what? You know who's legend in music?
Oh,
the
please tell me.
stupid modern
Please tell
pop
me.
music that's awful are the people that get all the publicity. The best musicians in the world probably never been discovered. So I don't agree with that. It took Granger Smith till he was like 35 to be popular, and he's the greatest musician of all time.
Don't bring it up.
Crickets. But the language,
who
though, I
sings
would love
Bohemian
to,
Rhapsody?
I would love to learn.
Go ahead, AJ.
What's it? Mandarin. Let's say that's a tough one.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you'd know it fluently.
That's true.
And to be honest with you, learning a language would be freaking. Learning all those languages would be the most annoying task on the planet. Learning to play different instruments is fun. So why would you shortcut a
Yes.
fun
It
thing
depends
for
on the
something
person.
that would be miserable? What what are you going to take your cello in the woods with us? I mean, I think this is an
I
easy
think
choice.
I never want to play Would You Rather with Kyle again. It's like
I'm
if you
so
switch
mean.
the other one.
How does this
You're an
affect-
idiot.
No.
Do not
because
pick the wrong
You're
answer.
not thinking about how this affects me.
What would you pick, Jeff?
I would probably have to go with the language one.
Yeah.
Just because that's the most practical.
Wicked smart.
Yeah.
Would you rather have super sensitive taste or super sensitive hearing?
Great one.
This one's easy too.
I hearing for me
Taste.
for sure.
I don't know, because then are you hearing everything and then you're just like...
Yeah.
wait,
You know,
like, it's
my
too
first
harsh
thought
to your
was,
ears.
how annoying would it be to be around me for your job and then have super sensitive hearing? I'd blow out your eardrums in a day.
Well, I mean, think
Every
about
day.
how you hear now.
Every day.
You key in on certain things you want to hear.
Yes, that's true.
I'd rather be able to hear things better.
I would. I don't want either. But if I had to choose,
You have to.
Yeah.
if I had to choose, though, I might want to pick super sensitive hearing just to get my hearing back from all the times I shot my gun hunting without earplugs in.
Reset you back
I'm
to when you were
losing
10.
it. What?
Yeah.
What? I would say though I'd have to go with, I don't know, then taste. Maybe you get like you wouldn't like a lot of stuff because of it. Like I'm good with where I'm at on my palate. And I don't want to
You would more like the things you like, and you would like.
I'd go with the hearing to get my functional hearing back. Because I feel like extra sensitive hearing would put me about even to where I should be.
I think extra sensitive taste would be better. Super sensitive hearing, like I've already gotten really good at drowning out like high pitched noise.
Shut up, Jeff.
People talking around me
Screaming.
that I don't care about.
Shut up, Jeff.
But super sensitive taste, you like the things you like more. You don't like the things you don't like less. And super sensitive hearing, you're gonna hurt your ears.
I like to think that the ones that have really good hearing are like the ones that record artists and they can hear those trumpets in the background that no one can hear. And I think I have to imagine that Dr. Dre's got some gnarly hearing and he's doing pretty well. So I think I'm gonna go with hearing.
You know what the other thing though is, it's like our TV. We have that big 4K flat screen that we do the final editing on, and sometimes with that, we think the color looks amazing for color correction because we can see it so purely on the screen, on our screen. But then it goes out to the network and people on their crap screens, and it looks all like
Yeah.
a Instagram filter. So I almost wonder if
Get a better TV.
everyone
Yep.
get a better TV, get on our level.
Yep.
But I'm saying, what if the extra sensitive hearing messes up our editing? Because what you hear and think is perfect would be off to someone with normal hearing. But it would also make you a better hunter.
But I think if it's a master copy, they're like, wow, that is some really good sound. How did you hear all that? As opposed to, Jack watching a show on his trailer.
Yeah, this one, just like that one, is another one where I would choose neither if I had the opportunity.
You have to.
And Ryan, I want more specifics on this. Would you rather be too hot or too cold?
Too hot.
We know his
No.
answer.
No. Yeah, I know his is for sure. But what is too hot? What is give me
Yeah,
temperatures?
good question.
Am I in
95 degrees.
versus what?
Too cold?
Yeah, what's too cold?
20.
I'll say two.
Oh,
He goes
95.
65.
Yeah.
That's too cold.
I would take a 95 for sure.
95
But if it was
high humidity.
105, I would switch.
I don't know.
because I think
I'd rather sweat
I would say
all
sweat
day
it out,
long.
yeah.
Yeah, but you can bundle up for
No, you're
the
too
cold.
cold.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much you wear.
No, you're in too
I
cold.
think that's interesting. What you go with is not we pick a temperature. It's whatever you think is too hot and whatever you think is too cold, and you have to pick one.
Oh, okay.
Well, we only
So
have
no
we
95.
only have 3 minutes, and that sounds like a whole thing. I would rather be too hot
Same.
I would rather be too cold.
at 95.
I know the answer to this next one.
I've survived too cold.
Would you rather win $10,000 or let your best friend win $100,000? Would you rather have wet socks?
That's a different one.
That's a different one. There's just no bullet point. Thanks,
It's
Ryan.
easy for us.
Yeah, this is easy for us. So Jeffrey and I, when we were a kid,
10,000.
had the wherewithal at 10 years old to believe that eventually we'd win the lottery.
One of us. Of
If
course.
that
Odds.
isn't stupid, poor mentality, I don't know what is. But so we made a pact because we were best friends, and we never wanted anything like money to change us. So if either of us ever won more than 10 grand, which at the time we thought was valuable, if either of us ever won 10 grand, we would split it no matter what, no questions asked, and we pinky swear on it. So obviously we have to. So that's an easy answer for me.
I didn't spit, so I don't know.
100,000 for him. 100,000 on a demo. Little Post Malone. I had picked 100,000 because that's actually 50 grand for me. So
Yeah,
that's a
that's a good-
no-brainer.
that's a good-
And to be honest with you, I think we're all close enough friends. I think all of us would say that we'd want the friend to win.
Yeah, you think you're going to get some cut of that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
Especially if
agree
you're
with
like,
that.
hey, I picked this so that you could have 100 grand.
yeah.
So last one. Would you rather cut off one of your fingers or pay $5,000 of your own money for the person you hate the most to go on a spa vacation? Ryan, what?
Wow.
I would rather spend $5,000.
Why?
I think
Why
the
is
one
this-
before that was better.
Why is the spa
you skipped
vacation
one.
bad?
I did skip one because they're telling me that I only got 2 minutes left. So
Okay, wait, we'll do it fast. Would you rather have wet socks on your feet for a year or dry socks on your hands for a year?
Oh. Okay.
Wet socks, you're miserable. Dry
Yeah.
socks on your hand, you can just blame everything on
Wet
that.
socks.
Be like, yep,
Wet
sorry,
socks.
I can't.
Wet socks.
I'm all-
You're gonna get.
wet socks.
You're gonna
Oh,
get. You're
absolutely.
gonna get
Your feet
gangrene.
sweat.
No, you're
Dude,
gonna get
no,
gangrene.
wet
and they're gonna fall off.
socks. Wet socks makes you unfunctionable.
Yep.
Nuh-uh.
Unfunctional. You can't even talk right when you
I
got
wet my I wet
make
my
up
socks
words when you
before I
got
put
wet
my
socks.
shoes on.
You
Yeah.
what?
I wet my socks before I put my shoes on.
That's buffoonery.
I'm used to
He
it.
already
I
lives that
pre-soak
life.
them. I pre-soak them in hot water.
I never
mind
put them
you.
in the dryer after.
Preparing myself for this day.
No,
when we
no,
got
no.
picked.
That is
That is
buffoonery.
That is buffoonery.
Buffoonery.
That is. We will not entertain your question.
I don't sanction it.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Green Outdoors. We'd like to formally apologize for the last 2 Would You Rathers, but I hope you enjoyed this episode's
We got socks
this
on our
episode of
hands.
the Green Outdoors podcast, episode 44. Episode 45, we're gonna have a pretty cool guest on, a surprise guest, someone in the celebrity in the hunting and fishing industry, as well as we're gonna be following a new format. It's gonna be available on a lot more platforms, so we'll keep you posted on that. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for announcements, and also let us know what episodes or stories you'd like to see. Thanks so much for tuning in. Stay green.